Ethan Reynolds walked into his own company's headquarters that morning dressed in a casual suit. The lobby of Reynolds and Associates buzzed with the usual Monday morning energy. Employees carrying coffee, interns rushing with paperwork, and executives walking with an air of importance. It was a well-oiled machine, a symbol of his hard work. Yet, as he approached the reception desk, he saw a new receptionist, a young woman named Vanessa, barely glance up before sighing. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice laced with impatience as she tapped at her keyboard, clearly distracted. "I believe you can," Ethan replied with a polite smile. Vanessa finally looked up, scanning him briefly before rolling her eyes. "Deliveries go through the back. This area is for employees only." Ethan's eyebrows lifted slightly, but he maintained his composure. "And what makes you think I don't belong here?" Vanessa let out a chuckle. "Sir, this is a corporate firm. We don't allow solicitors or random people loitering around. Security will escort you out if necessary." Ethan's jaw tightened. He had worked too hard, fought too many battles to be dismissed this way in his own company. Before he could respond, another employee, Mark, one of his top executives, strolled by and froze mid-step when he saw Ethan. "And Mr. Reynolds. Good morning." Mark's face paled as realization hit him. Vanessa's face twisted in confusion before she turned back to Ethan, suddenly studying him with more interest. "Wait, you're Mr. Reynolds? Like, Ethan Reynolds? The owner?" Ethan gave a slow nod, watching the color drain from her face. Panic replaced the arrogance in her eyes. "Sir, I didn't know," Vanessa stammered. You thought I didn't belong here?" Ethan finished for her, his voice calm, but edged with something dangerous. "Because of my skin color?" The silence in the lobby was suffocating. Eyes darted between them, employees pretending not to listen but hanging on every word. No, sir. It was just a mistake. I didn't recognize you," she scrambled to explain, but the damage was done. Ethan inhaled deeply, contemplating. This wasn't the first time he had encountered bias, but it was the first time in his own company, under his own roof. "Follow me to my office," he instructed, his voice controlled but firm. Vanessa hesitated but followed, her hands trembling. Inside his office, Ethan leaned back in his chair, watching her fidget uncomfortably. "Do you understand what just happened?" Vanessa nodded quickly. "Yes, sir. It was a mistake. A terrible mistake. I truly didn't mean." "You judged me before I even spoke," Ethan interrupted. "Dismissed me without knowing who I was. What if I had been a potential business partner? A client? How many others have you treated this way?" Vanessa had no answer, tears welling in her eyes. I don't know." Ethan folded his hands together. "Here's what's going to happen. You will attend mandatory diversity and inclusion training, effective immediately. Additionally, for the next month, you'll be volunteering at our community outreach program, interacting with people from all walks of life. And if there's ever another complaint about your treatment of anyone based on assumptions, you will no longer work here." "Understood." Vanessa's expression darkened for the briefest moment, and her jaw tightened. "I understand," she muttered, her voice clipped. Ethan noted the shift in her demeanor. "Good. And remember, respect is not just a policy in this company. It's a necessity." She stood up, her movements stiff, and left the office without another word. But as she exited, Ethan could sense the tension in her posture. He knew an apology born out of fear didn't always lead to true change. Over the next few days, Vanessa's demeanor grew colder. She carried out her tasks, but there was an edge to her that hadn't been there before. Employees whispered about the icy attitude she now displayed, the forced smiles that didn't quite reach her eyes. One afternoon, Ethan walked through the office and overheard Vanessa snapping at a junior intern. "If you don't know how to do your job, maybe you shouldn't be here at all," she hissed, her voice dripping with irritation. Ethan stopped in his tracks. "Vanessa, a word." "Now." She turned sharply, her lips pressed into a thin line. "Of course, Mr. Reynolds." Back in his office, Ethan closed the door behind them. "I gave you an opportunity to learn and grow, but from what I've seen, you've chosen resentment over change." Vanessa crossed her arms. "I've done everything you asked. I went to the training. I did the outreach. But it's clear nothing I do will ever be enough, will it?" Ethan studied her carefully. "It's not about checking off boxes, Vanessa. It's about how you treat people. If your apology was genuine, your actions would reflect that. But instead, you've chosen hostility." Her nostrils flared. So what now? You fire me? Prove your point. Ethan exhaled. No, Vanessa. You proved it yourself. You've made it clear this isn't the right place for you. Effective immediately, you are no longer an employee of Reynolds and Associates. Vanessa's face twisted in anger. You're firing me? You can't. I can. Ethan interrupted firmly. And I am. Because this company will never be a place where people are judged unfairly or where bitterness is allowed to fester. Security will escort you out. Her fists clenched, but she knew she had no ground to stand on. With one last glare, she turned on her heel and stormed out. Ethan let out a slow breath, rubbing his temple. He had given her a chance, but some people weren't ready to change. The next morning, as Ethan stepped into the office, he noticed the air felt lighter, the tension gone. Employees exchanged greetings, moving about their work with ease. Mark approached him. Seems like the team is relieved, sir. Ethan nodded. Toxicity has no place here. We move forward. As he walked to his office, he felt that same sense of hope. Today, things were a little better. And that was enough to keep pushing forward. If you enjoyed this story, like and share this video. Subscribe for more.